Bjorn Olsson. I'm the Executive Director of the Tarrytown Music Hall. Welcome to another of our popular live stream concerts, which we started back in March when we had to shut down to sort of keep the lights on and to introduce you to new and emerging talent, as well as reconnecting with some old familiar faces. The Music Hall is a non-profit organization, and if there was ever a time that you would consider supporting us with a donation or to join us as a member, now is it. If you can be there for us now, we will be here for you for years to come. Thank you. And now please enjoy tonight's live stream concert.
When Scrooge awoke, it was so dark that looking out of bed he could scarcely distinguish the transparent window from the opaque walls of his chamber, until suddenly the church clock told a deep, dull, hollow, melancholy 1. Light flashed up in the room upon the instant, and the curtains of his bed were drawn aside by a strange figure. Its hair, which hung around its neck and down its back, was white as if with age, and yet the face had not a wrinkle in it, and the tenderest bloom was on the skin. It held a branch of fresh green holly in its hand, and in singular contradiction of that wintry emblem, had its dress trimmed with summer flowers. But the strangest thing about it was that from the crown of its head there sprung a bright, clear jet of light, by which all was visible. "Are you the spirit, sir, whose coming was foretold to me?" "I am." "Who and what are you?" "I'm the ghost of Christmas past." "Long past?" "No, your past. The things that you will see with me are shadows of things that have been. They will have no consciousness of us." Scrooge then made bold to inquire what business brought him there. "Your welfare. Rise and walk with me." The grasp, though gentle as a woman's hand, was not to be resisted. He rose, but finding that the spirit made towards the window, clasped its robe in supplication. "I am mortal and liable to fall." "Bear but a touch of my hand there," said the spirit, laying it upon his heart, "and you shall be upheld in more than this." As the words were spoken, they passed through the wall and stood in the busy thoroughfares of a city. It was made plain enough by the dressing of the shops that here, too, it was Christmas time. The ghost stopped at a certain warehouse door and asked Scrooge if he knew it. "Know it? I was apprenticed here." They went in. At the sight of an old gentleman in a Welsh wig, Scrooge cried in great excitement, "Why, it's old Fezziwig! Bless his heart, it's Fezziwig alive again!" Old Fezziwig laid down his pen and looked upon the clock which pointed to the hour of 7. He rubbed his hands, adjusted his capricious waistcoat, laughed all over himself, and called out in a comfortable, oily, rich, fat, jovial voice, "Yo-ho there, Ebenezer! Dick!" A living and moving picture of Scrooge's former self, a young man, came briskly in, accompanied by his fellow apprentice. "Dick Wilkins, to be sure," said Scrooge to the ghost. "My old fellow prentice. Bless me, yes, there he is. He was very much attached to me, was Dick. Poor Dick, dear, dear." "Yo-ho, my boys," said Fezziwig. "No more work tonight. Christmas Eve, Dick. Christmas, Ebenezer. Let's have the shutters up before a man can say Jack Robinson. Clear away, my lads, and let's have lots of room here." Clear away. There was nothing they wouldn't have cleared away, or couldn't have cleared away, with old Fezziwig looking on, and it was done in a minute. and soon the warehouse was as snug and warm and dry and bright a ballroom as you would desire to see upon a winter's night. In came a fiddler with a music book. In came Mrs. Fezziwig, one vast, substantial smile. In came 3 Miss Fezziwigs, beaming and lovable. In came 6 young followers whose hearts they broke. In they all came one after another, some surly, some boldly, some gracefully, some awkwardly, some pushing, some pulling. In they all came anyhow and everyhow. There were dances, and there were forfeits, and more dances, and there was cake, and there was negus, and there was all a great piece of cold roast, there was a great piece of cold boiled, and there were mince pies and plenty of beer. But the great effect of the evening came when the fiddler struck up Sir Roger de Coverley. Then old Fezziwig stood out to dance with Mrs. Fezziwig. In a positive light appeared to issue from Fezziwig's calves. They shone in every part of the dance. You couldn't have predicted at any given time what would become of them next. And when old Fezziwig and Mrs. Fezziwig had gone through all the dance, advance and retire, turn your partner, bow and curtsy, corkscrew, thread the needle, and then back again to your place, Fezziwig cut so deftly that he appeared to wink with his legs. When the clock struck 11, this domestic ball broke up. Mr. and Mrs. Fezziwig took their stations, one on either side of the door, and, shaking hands with every person individually as he or she went out, wished him or her a Merry Christmas. "A small matter," said the ghost, "to make these silly folks so full of gratitude. He has spent but a few pounds of your mortal money, 3 or 4 perhaps. Is that so much that he deserves this praise?" "It isn't that," said Scrooge, heated by the remark, and speaking unconsciously like his former, not his latter self. "It isn't that, Spirit. He has the power to render us happy or unhappy, to make our service light or burdensome, a pleasure or a toil. Say that his power lies in words and looks, in things so slight and insignificant that it is impossible to add and count them up. What then? The happiness he gives is quite as great as if it cost a fortune." He felt the spirit's glance and stopped. "What's the matter?" "Nothing particular." "Something, I think." No. I should like to be able to say a word or two to my clerk just now, that's all." "My time grows short," observed the spirit. "Quick." It was not addressed to Scrooge, or to anyone whom he could see, but it produced an immediate effect. For again he saw himself. He was older now, a man in the prime of his life. He was not alone, but sat by the side of a fair young girl in a black dress, in whose eyes there were tears. "It matters little," she said softly to Scrooge's former self. "To you, very little. Another idol has displaced me." "What idol has displaced you?" "A golden one. You fear the world too much. I've seen your nobler aspirations fall off one by one until the master passion, gain, engrosses you, have I not?" "What then? Even if I have grown so much wiser, what then? Am I not changed towards you? Have I ever sought release from our engagement?" "In words, no. Never." "In what then?" "In a changed nature. In an altered spirit. If you were free today, tomorrow, yesterday, can even I believe that you would choose a dowerless girl? I release you with a full heart for the love of him you once were. Spirit, remove me from this place." "I told you, these were shadows of things that have been," said the ghost. "That they are what they are, do not blame me." "Remove me!" Scrooge exclaimed. "I cannot bear it. Leave me! Take me back and haunt me no longer! As he struggled with the spirit, he was conscious of being exhausted and overcome by an irresistible drowsiness, and further, of being in his own bedroom. He had barely time to reel to bed before he sank into a heavy sleep.